It might be the boldest nickname in the entire draft. They called Darryn Peterson the next Kobe Bryant. Now, Peterson himself calls that comparison crazy out of pure respect for his idol, but he's not the one pushing it. Prominent basketball voices are. So is it lazy hype, or is there something real here? Today we break down the Kobe comparison and then dig into the player Darryn Peterson actually is. Here's the plan. First, who's actually pushing the Kobe comparison and the 4 reasons it's stuck. Then, and this is the important part, we go beyond the comp into Peterson's own game, his real skills, stats, and what makes him unique. Then the honest critiques, including the ones about his mentality. And finally, his ceiling. Everything is verified, the comp is framed as analysis. Let's start with who's saying it. This is game is culture. If you love prospects broken down past the highlight nicknames, hit subscribe. We're chasing 1,000, it's free, and it helps a ton. Now, who's pushing the comparison? This isn't a comparison invented by hype accounts. Former NBA All-Star Wally Szczerbiak has openly pushed it, and Peterson's own Kansas assistant coach, Norm Roberts, a man with 35 years of college coaching experience, has praised him in the highest terms. When credible basketball people who've seen everything start invoking Kobe Bryant about a teenager, the comparison earns at least a serious look. Parallel 1, the physical mirror. Start with the visual. Peterson is a fluid shooting guard, listed around 6'6", with a near 6'10" wingspan and high-level lateral mobility. Analysts note his build, arm length, and even his posture on the floor echo the early number 8 jersey Kobe. He famously wears his armband the exact same way. It's eerie, and it's the first thing that makes people do a double take. Parallel 2, the mid-range craft. This is the heart of it. Peterson's footwork mechanically overlaps with Bryant's, identical jab steps, pump fakes, and pivot combinations to systematically break down a defender. His signature counter is a controlled, high-release step back and fadeaway, and he has that rare Kobe knack for hitting unorthodox, highly contested floaters and pull-ups from the elbow, even while splitting double teams. That's old-school surgical shot making. Parallel 3, pace and poise. And he does it with composure. Where most modern prospects rely on loud, explosive bursts, Peterson plays with a calculated, smooth control. On film, it often looks like he's moving at 80% speed while everyone else races, yet his body control lets him glide to any spot he wants without ever rushing. That deliberate, unbothered tempo is deeply reminiscent of how Bryant manipulated a game. Parallel 4, perimeter defense. And the final piece is the one people forget about young Kobe, the defense. When Peterson is locked in, he's a disruptive point of attack defender, using his 6'6" size and length to clog passing lanes and smother opposing guards. Early in his career, Bryant built his name as a suffocating perimeter stopper. Peterson flashes that same two-way ceiling when he's fully engaged. The blueprint really does rhyme. So that's the Kobe shell, the build, the footwork, the pace, the defensive flashes. It's a real sourced comparison, not lazy clickbait. But here's the thing, a comparison is not a scouting report. Peterson is his own player, with his own strengths that the Kobe label actually undersells. So let's leave the nickname behind and break down the guard he genuinely is. Beyond the comp, his own game. Start with the production. As a freshman at Kansas, Peterson averaged 20 points a game on genuinely elite efficiency, 38% from 3 and 83% from the line. He became the highest scoring freshman in the entire history of Kansas basketball. These aren't Kobe comparison numbers. These are his numbers, and they're outstanding for a teenager in a major conference. And his shooting is more versatile than Kobe ever needed his to be at that age. Scouts rave that Peterson shoots quickly and confidently off the catch, creates off the dribble, and knocks down shots on the move. Basically every type of jumper in the book. A combo guard who can both run an offense and play as a movement shooter off the ball is a perfect modern fit. That flexibility is uniquely his. Then the defense, by the numbers, not just the eye test. Peterson racked up about 2 stocks a game, and here's the unique part. Despite standing only 6'5", he was an active shot blocker, swatting shots on the perimeter and at the rim, while swiping steals without fouling. A guard who protects the rim is genuinely rare. He once posted a 5-steal game. The disruption is real and statistical. And the underrated stuff rounds him out. He's a willing, capable passer and a strong rebounder for a guard. He rarely turns the ball over, and remarkably, he's the youngest player in the entire draft. A 19-year-old, scoring 20 efficiently while defending and not making mistakes, has a higher floor than almost anyone in this class. That well-rounded, low-error game is the real foundation. Kobe label or not. Put that together and you don't have a Kobe cosplay. You have a polished, efficient, two-way combo guard who scores at 3 levels, shoots it every way imaginable, defends his position, protects the rim, and barely turns it over, all at 19. That's a fantastic prospect on his own terms. The Kobe comp gets the clicks. His actual two-way, low-mistake skill set is what gets him drafted near the top. The off-ball evolution. Here's a wrinkle that's pure Peterson, not Kobe. At Kansas, his role shifted heavily off the ball, as a movement shooter spacing the floor and attacking closeouts, and he thrived. His handle held up, he rarely coughed it up, and he proved he doesn't need the ball in his hands to score. That versatility, equally dangerous on or off the ball, makes him far easier to fit next to another star than a pure ball-dominant scorer. The honest critiques. Now the fair concerns. First, availability. His freshman season was shortened to around 24 games by reported health issues, so durability is a real question. Second, the efficiency can wobble on heavy volume nights. He had games where the shots simply didn't fall, like a 15-point 3 of 18 shooting outing. The talent is elite, but the consistency and the health both need to hold up at the next level. And then the spiciest one. Some analysts have flipped the Kobe comparison into a criticism, arguing he's, quote, Kobe without the Mamba mentality, questioning his competitive edge, and even calling one of his pre-draft moves immature. It's a harsh, subjective take, but it's out there, and it speaks to a real debate. Is Peterson driven by that same relentless killer instinct, or just blessed with the skills? Scouts are split. I'd be careful with that one. Mentality is the hardest thing to judge from the outside, and confidence in a 19-year-old often gets misread as arrogance. The bold pre-draft decisions some call immature, others call a player betting on himself. Maybe the edge isn't loud like Kobe's, but the production, the defense, the low turnovers, that's not the resume of a kid coasting. The mentality narrative is a story, not a stat. The ceiling. So what's the dream? A 6'6", two-way guard who scores at all 3 levels with surgical footwork, knocks down every kind of jumper, defends multiple positions, and protects the rim. If the shot creation scales and the health holds, that's a perennial all-star shot maker, the kind of guard a franchise builds its identity around. You don't have to reach for Kobe to see a future star. The pieces are genuinely there. And the realistic floor is encouraging too. Even if he never becomes a number 1 option, an efficient 20-point two-way movement scorer who defends and rarely makes mistakes is a high-level starter on a good team. That combination of a safe floor and a star ceiling in the youngest player in the draft is exactly why he's a lock for the top of the lottery. The bust risk is lower than the hype suggests. So how real is the Kobe comparison? As a literal prophecy, pump the brakes. There's only one Kobe Bryant, and that's a near impossible bar. But as a stylistic, trait-based comparison, the footwork, the mid-range craft, the pace, the two-way flashes, it's one of the more legitimate Kobe comps we've seen in years. Just remember, the player underneath the nickname is plenty good enough to stand on his own. Where does he go? Peterson is firmly in the top 2 conversation, and his reported decision to work out only for the Washington Wizards tells you he expects to go very high. Whether it's Washington or Utah, he lands with a rebuilding team that hands him the keys, surrounds him with talent, and lets that two-way scoring game blossom. Wherever he goes, he's an instant franchise building block. So strip away the nickname and here's the truth. The Kobe comp is real in style, the footwork, the fadeaways, the poise, the defense, but the player is his own, an elite shooting, two-way, low-mistake combo guard, the youngest in the draft with both a high floor and a star ceiling. The comparison opens the conversation. His actual game is what makes him special. So is Darryn Peterson really the next Kobe, or is he something all his own? The footwork and the poise are eerie, but the elite shooting, the rim protecting defense, and that low mistake versatility are entirely his. So do you buy the comp, and where would you draft him? Tell me below. And if you want every top prospect broken down past the nicknames, subscribe and join the family.